All right, so this particular video is going to be about how to write certain notations that you're going to be using the entire year, whether we write domain or range or even solutions when we get to certain kinds of functions down the road. So I kind of want to go through this and just show you how to write them. And then on Friday, when we start doing domain and range, this is actually how we're going to write domain and range for those particular graphs when you see them. So the first thing you notice is there's some I don't want to use the word vocab because it's not really vocab, but it's more like some symbols you kind of need to know. So the first one here is a symbol here. It looks like parentheses, and that's exactly what they are. Those are going to be used for values that are going to be not equal to. In Algebra 1, you know them as open circles for values. The brackets are another symbol that you use when the values are equal to. And again, when I actually do this, I'll show you. And again, from Algebra 1, you know these as closed circles whenever you're working with particular values. The infinite sign is very important because it can be positive or negative. Inequality signs, again, along the same lines. I put both of these together, these two together, and these two together. That way you know that those are going to be used for values that are going to be not equal to or in some cases equal to, depending on what you're dealing with. The union symbol, which is this guy right here, I'm going to actually highlight him in a different color. This guy right here, we'll use him to connect several statements, although we're not going to really use him this time around, but just let you know that that's what it looks like. And then the last one, which I will use more often today, is this one right here called the set builder notation. And basically the way that reads is it's the value of x such that. So the word such that is this line right there. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to write these, and then we'll go from that point. Okay. So I'm setting up my screen real fast. Again, this is not going to be a very long video. So the first one I'm going to do is show you how. I'm going to go through this, show you how to read it, write it, and then of course a word description. So the first one, there it is what we have -4 to infinity. Okay. Now notice that you have the parentheses shown here. What that means is that the values that we're going to be using are not going to be equal to. Now, one thing I will note is the fact that whenever we deal with infinity signs, okay, we're going to use parentheses under those all the time. So if I wanted to write this, I'm going to write this first first of all, I'm going to graph it so you can kind of see what that means. So what that means is this. It means that we're going to have an open circle at -4, okay? Let me see if I can make this thinner. Yeah, looks better, okay? And then we're going to talk about all values that are greater than -4 to infinity, okay? So infinity basically being a value somewhere out here. And the reason why it's open circle is because of the fact that we're using a parentheses right here, okay? If it was a bracket, then we'd be using a closed circle instead. So now inequality sign or inequality way looks very similar to the fact that if I said all values of x that are greater than -4, well, that's essentially what I'm going to write for my inequality. All value of x that are greater than -4. Okay. And the reason why that's important because when I write a set builder is going to look a lot like my inequality. You know, I want all values of x such that my value of x are greater than -4. Okay. That's what that means. And then verbally, word description, all values of x greater than negative 4. And yes, I write everything in words. Okay. So the second one, notice right here, it says the value of x is greater than or equal to negative 1.5 and less than 5. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, again, I'm going to graph this. So less than 5 means I'm going to have a circle on my 5. And at negative 1.5, which is actually right here, it doesn't want to do this now all of a sudden. There it goes. And the reason why I'm going to use a solid circle is because the fact that it actually says equal. Okay, so all values of x are going to fall somewhere in here. Okay. Now to write that, that's not a very nice circle. I'm going to write this one a little bit bigger right there. Yeah. As an interval notation, here's kind of the way you do it. Okay. So because this is a closed circle here, I'm going to put a bracket, and that's going to be negative 1.5 all the way to 5 with an open circle. So I'm going to write 5 with a parentheses because they go together. Okay. In my inequalities, the way you write this one would be negative 1.5 less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. Okay. And then my set builder notation, x such that, I'm going to kind of really zoom in here so I can write this a bit better. Negative 1.5 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. And I'm going to run a little bit into there. Sorry. That doesn't look very good. I need to make sure I make these spaces bigger next time. Okay. I'll come back to the third one. I'm going to go to number 4. So again, I want all values of x that are such that x is less than 1. And again, it's an open circle at 1. It's all values of x that are less than 1, which means it's going to negative infinity. Okay. Negative infinity. So if I write this in interval notation, it looks something like this. Parentheses, negative infinity, all the way to 1. Parentheses because it's not equal to. Okay. My inequality sign is just x is less than 1. And then my words is basically all values of x less than 1. Okay. All right. So that's how you write those different ways. Okay. Now the middle one, or the one I haven't done yet, this one's a little special case because this is what we call discrete. And again, we talked about discrete before. So this is what we call discrete information. Oops. I can't spell discrete all of a sudden. Okay. And since it's just those points, here's kind of the thing. There's really no interval notation, and there's really no inequality notation. We write this as a set notation. Okay. So we want all values of x such that x is equal to negative 4 negative 1, 2, and 3. Negative 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to close this out like that. Okay. And then over here for the verbal is, x equals negative, and I'm not going to write this one in words, but basically it'd be negative 4 negative 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So anyway, so that's how you use the different notations. That's how you write the different ways. So you have interval notation, just kind of summary real quick. You have interval notation. You have set notation, inequality. You have graphs, and then of course you have word or verbal description. Okay, those are the 5 ways you need to know how to do this. Okay. So anyway, so take a practice on the chart that you have. Go through the chart, see if you can do the chart. And again, if you're not sure, always ask for help. I know this is on a Wednesday, so email me the questions, and again, I can explain it to you as best as possible. So we'll see you around, and then we'll go from that point, and then we'll do domain and range using these particular notations. So, all right, y'all have a good evening.